Hi, welcome to your channel. Today is the first day of the 8th chapter that is launch. Let's start a trip to Hollywood from your living room or the corner coffee shop. Let's take a trip to Hollywood by way of our local cinema or movie theater. Every year, a number of blockbuster films come out that cost a huge amount of money to produce, often $100 million or more. Studio executives know they have only a limited window to ensure a big hit. If the opening weekend is huge, they may still have a good movie, but not the blockbuster they need to recoup their high cost. The executives also know that although some people don't decide which movie they want to see until they get to the theater, lots of other people go to see a particular movie if they have been hearing about it in advance, building up their anticipation and getting excited. They are all the more eager to see the movie and tell their friends about it too. This is why Hollywood begins the pre launch for a big film many months in advance, often a whole season or even an entire year in advance for the right film. During this time, they are showing previews at the beginning of other movies, building buzz through an internet campaign, and working the PR angles far in advance of the movie actually coming out. The pre-launch campaign is a success when people eagerly await the film, complaining about how long it takes to arrive until the day finally it's ready to be screened for the public. Then the studio hopes hundreds of thousands of filmgoers will pay their money and stream into the theater. Without an active pre-launch campaign, the movie may be great, but the odds of commercial success are far lower. The same principle holds true for micro businesses. Whether a Hollywood movie or the debut of your new sock knitting class launches are built primarily through a series of regular communications with prospects and existing customers, just like the movie executives who release trailers over time. First a short one, then a longer one, and the press events that Apple built up over time with Steve Jobs at the helm, building anticipation for future products of fewer each. Small businesses can reproduce this cycle in their own way. Carol Gaja and Adam Baker, two friends with separate businesses in different parts of the country, decided to team up for a big project. Carol had completed an engineering degree from the University of Michigan, but never actually worked as an engineer. He first had the idea from reading a classic 90-year-old marketing book called Scientific Advertising by Cord Hopkins. In the book, Hopkins discussed fire sales, the old school, everything must go tactic used by furniture store for decades. Carol didn't have a furniture store, but he wondered, what if we put together a modern day fire sale with an emphasis on giving away a ton of value for a low price but only for a limited time? Carol and Adam were both in the information publishing business and they quickly went to work approaching other colleagues to participate. The pitch was intriguing. Contribute your products to the overall mix to be sold as a group for a low price and during a limited time. Oh, and if you help promote the offer to your own audience of customers and followers, you will earn an 80% commission on everything you sell. It was a good pitch, and Carol and Adam had spent plenty of time building relationships and developing a strong reputation for their work. Out of 25 requests, 23 people said yes. Packaging everything together, they ended up with a monster package value at a retail price of $1,054. They would sell the package for 97, less than 10% of the overall value, and a price to which they expected customers would respond well. The hook came from the fire sale idea. The offer would be available for only 72 hours. No packages would ever be sold again after the limited time period. The big day came and they put the offer online. For 10 minutes, nothing happened. Carol sat looking in anticipation at the stats in Austin while Adam was biting his nails in Indianapolis. Was something wrong? Fortunately, not. It turned out they were just 10 minutes early. All of a sudden, trickle of visitors became a stream, then a flood, as more and more people heard about the offer and came by to purchase. Wham! The server was hit hard, and Carol's Gmail account reported notification of payment received over and over. The flood continued for the rest of the day, slowed down a bit on the second day, and then picked back at the end of the third day and final day. When the smoke cleared, Carol and Adam added up the results. Total sales $1,85,755 in 3 sleep-deprived days. Such was the power of well-crafted product launch. It was a dark and stormy night. Because planned launch campaign can provide far better results than simply putting something out there and saying, hey, here you go. You will want to think carefully about how to structure it. The campaign usually unfolds in a series of messages you send to your audience, and you should keep the Hollywood analogy in mind. The worst thing you could do for a launch is to open your movie without letting anyone know. A much better thing is to tell a story. The story unfolds like this: an early look at the future. In the first mention of your upcoming launch, you don't want to give all the details away. It's usually better to start with a simple heads up. You want to say something like this: Hey, I am working on something interesting. It's going to be a big deal when it's finished. But for now, I am just letting you know that it's coming down online. The goal is to slowly build anticipation for what eventually will be available for purchase. Why this project will matter? The most important early message about the launch, and one that has to be reinforced continually, is why your prospects and customers should care. In the blitz of communication that we all process every day, why should anyone stop and pay attention to this project? The message you want to communicate is: this is why this project will be a game changer. Here's why and how people will benefit, and here's why you should care. The plan for the big debate. The previous two messages, as well as any others, have been about the project itself, not the actual launch. Here's where you roll out some of the details for the launch itself. When will it be? How will it work? Will there be some kind of bonus for early buyers? Most important, what do people need to know at this time? Wow, we are almost ready. This communication happens right before the launch, sometimes as late as the day before. The message is: this is the calm before the storm. We are coming down to the wire and are really excited about this. Anytime, any last minute reminders or launch details are included here, and the goal is to convert anticipation into an actual decision. You want prospects to decide in advance that they want what you are putting together. OMG, here it is. The message is: it's finally here. Everyone has been waiting, and now we are ready to go. This communication tends to be shorter than the others because if you have done your job right, many buyers are already prepared to purchase. Here's where you open the gates to the host, or at least that's what you hope will happen. In this message, you send them a link or give them another way to purchase and encourage them to take action. Let's pause here for a moment to interlude. Let's pause here for a moment. What happens immediately after this point is just as important as what has happened already. A good marketer doesn't rest on her laurels after a launch because she knows she can probably increase the result significantly with little effort. A launch often results in a response cycle like this. If the launch is a week long, you will tend to see a strong response on the first and second day, followed by a significant downturn and then a big uptick right before the close. This further illustrates why you need a launch cycle. If you have no closing, you won't see the uptick. If you just launch and move on, you will have no opportunity for growth. Now, back to the story. Here's how it's going. Something always goes wrong in every launch. Here's a chance to address or correct it, along with updating everyone on how things are going during this time. It's also important to share stories of happy customers who have purchased already. The message is look at all these people who are already benefiting from our product. The clocks are ticking right before the offer goes off the market or before you remove the bounces or before the price goes up. Here's where you make one final push. The message is it's almost over. Here's your last chance before you lose out. I would like to thank my mother for believing in me. Any good launch has a closing period in which you bring the roller coaster to a stop, even if the offer will still be available in a different form. The message is it's all over now. Thanks everyone. Here's what's coming next. As with everything else in life, it's important to keep your word with launches. If you offer ended at a set time and you had a big response, you will invariably be contacted with requests for exceptions after it's over. It's tempting to take more money, but if you said it would end at a set time, you need to stick to your decision. In the long run, this works in your favor because people will realize that you mean what you say. Carol and Adam received number of requests of their bundle package after the 72-hour period had ended, but they politely declined each one. One morning thing, One more thing, if you admit to flaw, weakness, or limitation in your product, this will probably help instead of harm you. This is because when we are evaluating a purchasing decision, we like to consider both the strengths and weaknesses. If a product developer personally tells us it's not perfect and here's why, we tend to trust him or her more. You can see this style of messaging in President Obama's 2012 re-election campaign. An early ad in favor of re-election contained the following statement from a supporter. I don't agree with Obama on everything, but I respect and trust him. Meanwhile, an ad that launched the same week against a re-election contained the following statement from someone who was opposed. I like Obama, but I just don't understand his policies. These are essentially the same statements flipped around the place, the emphasis on what each side wants voters to believe. Each message contains both an admission of uncertainty and an argument, thus making both pitches a good fit for independent voters who haven't made up their mind yet. In all the messages you send, whether delivered via email or in another way, you will want to be mindful of several qualities. The first and most important is what we have mentioned already, the need to tell a good story on its own. However, a good story isn't always enough. You also need to think about relatability and timeliness. Relatability, which may or may not be a real word, refers to the end to ensure that the people who hear about the launch can relate to it. Do they see themselves in the characters in your story, and can they clearly understand how it will help them? Do they get it? The final factor is timeliness, and it can be the critical difference between good results. we did okay, and great results, we killed it. Without timeliness, customers may evaluate the offer and agree that it's interesting, but fail to take action because there is no need for them to do so right away. You don't want to pressure people into buying if they are not ready, but you do want to still a sense of urgency. That's why good launch always factors in a concern of timeliness. And we will start on the second day ahead. If you are new on the channel, subscribe the channel and press bell icon so that you will get notification about new video upload. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you so much.